Screenwriting is more like architecture than it is a whoosh of sudden creative inspiration that magically pours out over the pages. Your script is the blueprint for constructing every aspect of your film. Great screenplays have lots of depth and are built up in layers using the types of techniques presented in this workshop. So when you're building a house, you first have the blueprint where you have all the plans. You don't just go out there and start pouring concrete and hope everything works out. You have very solid plans with everything measured and you know where everything's going. And then you pour the foundation and then you build up the walls and you just keep building it up in layers. And doing a really good story is like that because you're adding all this depth, so it does happen in layers, and that's what my process really focuses on, is just taking those in steps where you just build up one layer, then the next, and the next. The first step to making a film or developing a story involves finding a great original idea to develop into a script. These 3D Maya characters were created based on what it might be like to see beings energetically floating around in a spiritual realm. Many modern filmmakers use digital software to explore the unconscious, unseen realms or inner workings of the human mind and heart to tell stories in fresh ways. This image is a good example of using digital tools to show us something we may not have seen before in a visually interesting way. What are some original visual ideas or new points of view you could include in your film idea that would be easy to do with your favorite digital techniques or software? And everyone listening to this workshop is going to have different levels of experience using digital tools and software. So I encourage you to take an inventory of what you really like to use. If you're really good at 3D, then you'd focus more on a 3D story. Or if you're a 2D animator that's using After Effects or Flash, you would focus on that. Or if you just want to shoot straight stuff with just a DV camera and actors and sets, that's fine too. But get a handle on where you're headed, because we're going to be constructing our stories around how we're going to make them, in a sense, at this level. Basic story structure sentence. Now this is the sentence we're going to be filling in all these little blanks in just a moment, but this is how you describe a story and the basic gist of how a 3-act structure, classic narrative story goes. It is a story about a protagonist, that's the lead character, the main character, who wants something, that's their plot goal, that forces him or her to take action. He or she meets with an escalating array of conflicts or obstacles, leading to a final climax and resolution. Most stories follow this structure to some degree. Sometimes you'll have multiple protagonists, and there's all sorts of variations on this, but most stories follow this basic story structure sentence. Definitions. Protagonist, as we just learned, is the lead character and the focus of the plot, a vessel through which the story flows, usually one of the first characters you see in a film or story. And you really want to make it clear who the protagonist is right away, because people like to get attached to the protagonist and they get upset if you show them a character that they think is the protagonist at the beginning and then something happens to that character. So you really want to make it clear who the main character is if possible. Antagonist, the character or thing that stands in the way of the protagonist accomplishing his or her goals. This could be a group or organization. It doesn't have to be an evil madman kind of thing. Or even a tornado, just anything that is stopping the lead character from obtaining their goals. And we're going to go into a list of antagonist ideas in a moment, but I want you to start thinking of what kind of lead character do you want in your story, and what type of antagonist do you think would work good with that lead character.